Thank you, Mr. Senate President. I rise in opposition to this bill as well. Give me 2 weeks to flatten the curve. 14 months later, we are still being ruled by draconian rules. And what has it gotten us? 25,000 New Jersey citizens dead. 10,000 citizens, frail and elderly in nursing homes, dead. 1/3 of businesses shuttered, bankrupt, gone. No Senate investigation, no subpoenas, and yet we are asking this body to codify what was done and to extend it into next year. Key word, orders. We have been ruled. We have not been governed. Is it an emergency or is it not? When does it stop being an emergency? Well, if this body had taken up proper committee meetings with subpoena powers, we could have asked those questions that Senator Doherty asked about cycling. After 35 cycles, Anthony Fauci, of which you are going to honor here today, says they are meaningless, and yet New Jersey cycles at 40. For those who don't know what that means, it means that we just keep repeating the test, doubling the amount of genetic material that we find in the sample. Now, it doesn't have to be live. It doesn't have to be just bits of innocuous DNA material that just happen to be there, none of which call COVID. But if we cycle it at 40, and if you get a positive PCR test, you have COVID. And then we ask ourselves, why is it asymptomatic? Look at all these asymptomatics. Did you ever figure out maybe they don't have it in the first place? Why is that important? Because we base public policy. We've shut down a state and contributed to 25,000 deaths, 10,000 deaths in nursing homes. If we were a country, the Star Ledger said that we would have the highest COVID per capita death rate in the world. Tell me that doesn't scream for investigation and oversight, and yet this body has not done it. And what are we asked to do today? Without this body even having a meeting for it, without even a meeting, we're asking to pass legislation that would extend these rules into next year. Those 10,000 screams that you don't hear are not coming from outside. They're coming from the dead in nursing homes who never had a chance. If you're satisfied with 25,000 dead, 10,000 in nursing homes, 1/3 of businesses shuttered, the highest COVID per capita death rate in the world, then you'll vote for this. But if you do, you will co-join yourself and partner yourself with this governor who did this all by himself while we stood on the sidelines and did nothing. We are a co-equal branch of government. Let's start acting like it. Thank you, Mr. Senate President. Thank you, Mr. Senate President. Very brief. I was proud that I was out there with my friends, breathing fresh air, shaking hands. And I didn't need the permission from this governor or any of my Senate colleagues to do so. I have a right to do so because God gave me that right, and only God can take that away. Now, we called for it, and we were supposed to have a bipartisan committee meeting with subpoena power well over a year ago. And one of the reasons that I called for that is I remember we were supposed to have a committee meeting that was called for Thursday, then suddenly canceled. Canceled. It wasn't me that canceled that. So don't tell us that we've been on the sidelines not doing anything. Those orders, the executive orders that forced that virus into nursing homes, that day was March 26th. I know that date. It was a week after New York did it. Why do we know that? Because we complained about it then. Any person with rhyme or reason, Mr. Senate President, would tell you there's something wrong about that. You don't introduce the virus. And the governor knew it because he opened up the prisons. He said a confined area like that with viruses, you're going to hurt people. Open up the prisons. And yet we closed those doors behind those elderly and elderly, and we made them die. So yes, I was glad to shake hands. I was glad to breathe air. You know why, Mr. Senate President? Because it was free and God-given.